Okay, so we're sitting down with Scott and Karl Sanders of Nile. Guys, let's kick it off. I always see Scott and you boarding a plane to Hamburg, Germany before your shows, but never have seen anything published about it. What's that all about? Is it like this secret Superman fortress of solitude, or is it just like midway for you guys and George to just meet?
Oh, you mean the rendezvous at the airport?
Oh, it's always in Hamburg. Yes, this is always
Hamburg
the spot.
Hamburg is a hub. You know, it's a destination.
Okay.
Lufthansa now has flights that go directly from Charlotte to Munich, Hamburg, Frankfurt, and a couple other German cities.
Okay.
So
it's an easy connection for you.
It's an easy connection.
All right. Yeah. I did not know that. But, you know, in all fairness, though, Nile is also huge in Germany. I mean, I can't tell you how many articles have been written that you can't even read because they're all in German. There's so much media coverage of Nile in Germany.
Well, it's much easier nowadays, now that we have Google Translate, because you can take a whole paragraph at once and go, splah! Right, which before, like 20 years ago, you had to, wait till you see your German buddies
and ask, break out this.
What are they saying about us?
Yeah. No, absolutely. But I don't know, it's pretty cool. But obviously, you guys have done well there, and it is obviously one of the top bands that get coverage as far as metal is concerned. So that's great for you guys. So, you guys just played in Oulu last night, is that correct? All right,
yes.
All right. So, how was it? Karl, in doing my homework for this interview, I saw back in 2015, you told Invisible Oranges that there was this Finnish guy who would come up to you at every show wanting to hear the howling of the djinn.
Yeah.
That wasn't in Oulu, was it?
There was a guy in the front row last night and was insisting, like, every song we introduced, he thought it was going to be the howling of the djinn.
Well, I mean...
But it wasn't the same guy.
It was a different guy.
The other guy, he'd been threatening for years, like, either you play the howling djinn, or I'm going to start bringing a baseball bat to the shows. You will play it. And, that wasn't quite enough of a threat right there. We didn't include it on the set list for his benefit. It was just, a choice to represent the Catacombs record.
Right. Yeah.
Because we can't play every song from every album.
Well, I mean, it's such a monolithic piece of music if you try. I've obviously in doing
We'd be here for 9 albums, 10 songs. Yeah. Well, that's easy math. That's 90 motherfucking songs. We'd be here, till tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I actually go back before I do an interview and listen to artists' music, and yours was quite substantial. It took quite a long time to go through because I also did a little bit of your solo stuff. So, and I checked that out. So it's quite good.
Very helpful for sleeping.
Well, yeah. Sure. Yeah. Or just expanding your mind, or yeah.
You will hear more between the band sets of.
There will be some of this now. Okay.
Alexi plays it as quiet music before the Wall of Nile sounds.
But that kind of sets the tone too.
Yes.
I think that's kind of cool, man, because that's exactly the mindset you want to be in before hearing Nile. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. All right, so Monday, tomorrow, you guys are in Helsinki. In fact, the tour is 28 stops over 33 days. It's a grueling schedule, right? How do you unwind when you're always expected to go out and give 100%, 110% for that long of a period of time? I mean, obviously there's not much like sightseeing going on, right?
We don't have a lot of time for sightseeing.
No, so how do you unwind? I mean, Karl is sitting here literally practicing as we're speaking. I mean,
well, this is my way to achieve my relaxed state, is to be calm and practiced and relaxed, so that I'm not so hyped up and so amped up that I can't return back to it reasonably. Okay. Like that whole thing, whatever state you most spend your time in, you find it easier to get to.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
I guess it's true, yeah.
So my preferred state that I like to be is I'm relaxed, my hands are warm, they're loose and relaxed, the muscles sort of do what they need to do. It's a mindset.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
So
I can understand that.
that's what I do. Different people do different things. One of the guys on our tour, Cuba, he really loves to drink vodka. And that's how he relaxes.
Right, yeah, of course, which to each his own. I mean, sure.
Yeah, he's a Polish guy, and man, can he drink the fucking vodka?
It's like water, right?
Yeah, it's like water.
No, I get that though with the returning to that rhythm, keeping yourself in that sort of mind state. That's it's fascinating to hear you. Is this? I know you study some martial arts, right? I don't want to get it wrong because oh god, is it Taekwondo?
Well, interestingly enough, I have a black belt in Taekwondo,
You do?
but
Yeah,
I also
okay.
have a 4th degree black belt. Oh, where's my jacket? There it is. And Senai Jutsu.
Senai Jutsu.
It's a combat form of Jiu-Jitsu. Jiu-Jitsu is also referred to as the gentle art.
Right. Okay.
Senai Jutsu is a combat form meant for actually hurting people.
So it's okay. All right. But this obviously, so you're studying martial arts. Is that sort of mindset part of where you learn that to sort of
It is.
stay in that mindset?
Right. So I noticed pretty early on. I started at a late age in life. I noticed that if you go full throttle right out of the gate, right, which most people do, you get mad, you get pissed off, start a fight, you're going for it.
Yeah,
right?
It's natural human nature.
Burn yourself out, and your brain isn't necessarily thinking. You're just fucking fighting, and whatever happens is going to happen. But after years of training, the mindset's entirely different. The calmer your mind is, the more your breathing is controlled, the better off you can do because your head's cool. You can breathe. If you can't breathe, you can't fight. Right?
Yeah.
So most guys blow all their wind in the first minute, and then
Yeah. Okay.
then that's when stupid shit starts happening.
Yeah, because there is no Rocky. You're not going to go out there and take a beat in it forever and then just go bounce back and jump into knockout mode.
So that training over that, I did that for 7 years. It really moves over. There are people who naturally are able to stay relaxed when they play death metal. I wasn't one of them. I would definitely be
sure,
but now we keep calmer. We stay relaxed. We stay focused. We keep a cool head, and it's much easier to do what we need to do and not lose our minds.
I laugh because you actually make it look very easy, and it's so difficult. It's so when I watch it, I'm just like, oh my god. No, I'll never get to that level, of playing. It's so incredible.
Well, we have
not to stroke your dick or anything. I'm not trying to. When I watch it, I'm just like, he's hardly his movements are so simple, and yet it's like amazeballs. It's like, what the fuck, man.
Well, there you go. We try to keep focused on. We have to sing and we have to play. So there's breath management right out of the gate.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And being that everyone in this band has to sing,
we
all have to get on that same, wavelength, the focus wavelength together. Stay cool-headed, do what we need to do. Focus on what we're doing.
Is there a rhythm? You can fall into a rhythm? Is that what happens? It's like sports, right? Like a team falls into the rhythm.
Exactly.
You have the role, you execute, we know what we're doing, boom.
Yeah, man, it's a team sport.
It is, absolutely, yeah. Everyone needs each other out there. You guys actually nixed one of my later questions. You jumped ahead of me because I was going to ask how difficult it is to play while singing extreme metal, whether it's technical death metal or blackened death metal or whatever, where there's, like just an absolute insane amount of like tremolo picking and rapid chord progressions and sort of Karl's giving us this funny look here, but
no, I'm like making sure he gets the point to take the ball and run with it.
Okay, all right.
Can speak very well on this topic.
Yeah, that's one of the things about Nile is like the guitar work is already very complicated and very precision based, which is a lot of fun for me. It's very challenging, I feel like I got good really quick, and it put me back on point, to go back and learn these things that someone else had kind of put together in a different light, and to do vocals on top of that is a whole nother level. Just to be able to learn an entire set worth of guitar material of Nile was already challenging.
Okay,
you put vocals on top of it, where they don't always bounce with the same beat.
Right.
That it doesn't match your hands a lot of the time, so it's you have to split your brain into muscle memory just has to take over on some of the most complicated things I've ever played. So not only that, but at almost inhuman speeds. So you got to do both, and it's fun. It's very challenging, and then it becomes part of it's like second nature just to walk out there and it just happens at one point. Where you don't think about it.
And so, like, as an extension of that, right? So, what was it like learning all those insane Nile riffs? Did you have to scallop your fretboard?
Not yet.
No, not yet. Okay.
It's fun to tinker with his. I wouldn't mind it so much on the higher frets.
Yeah.
The lower frets, your hand placements are slightly different because you can't feel the actual fretboard.
Okay, is the action much higher, or is it like higher action, or?
Yes.
Yeah,
you can see daylight between there.
Shit, yeah. Wow.
So you can grab the notes better. Like that's why I say the higher notes, higher registers to do the bending and things.
Yeah.
Yeah. The lower things, I would have to change the way I chord things with multiple fingers. So it
takes
definitely
a lot
something.
of control.
Karl,
to get the chords.
I don't know that I've seen this in an interview, but or at least not a lot. It might have been with Guitar World or something. But how did you just real quick come up with this heavy scalloping of the fretboard? Where did you get it from, and how'd you kind of evolve into that style?
We were in '99. We did 7 tours that year. 3 of them were opening for Morbid Angel. 1 was opening for Cannibal Corpse. 1 we were opening on Death Across America, and then there was a couple other support songs. All support songs. When you're a support band, you don't have the luxury of break your guitar down nicely after the show and clean it off, and basically you pack your shit, get the fuck out of the way, because the next band's got to do what they got to do, and get the fuck out.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you're really you're living in a van, right? So really, your only chance to clean your guitar, change your strings, is always a load in the next day while you're waiting on the headliner to do their business, waiting for your moment to hurriedly put your shit up there. So to clean my guitar as quickly as I possibly could, I clean the gunk off from the night before.
Yeah.
Right? I would just take steel wool, and it gets the dirt off very quickly.
Of course, yeah, sure.
Well, after a whole year of doing this, every day, I noticed that the wood was wearing out in between the frets on the Fender neck that I was playing.
Okay.
So I started going, I can really grab these notes pretty good like this. I wonder what would happen if I went ahead and scalped this for real. And so I did, and I was like, son of a bitch. There's a reason Uli Roth, Blackmore, Malmsteen, there's a very good reason why they do it, because not only does it make the notes easier to grab, but you have supreme control over every note.
Okay.
And your finger is never actually touching wood, right?
Right.
You're only pressing the string down enough to make the string touch the fret. So if you were to look in between here,
Right.
the angle were right, you would see
Yep.
that my fingers never actually touching the neck.
Yeah, you don't ever touch the fretboard.
I'm never touching the fretboard.
Wow.
So
Okay.
there's a possibility for insane amounts of note expression and control.
Well, and I think that's something that you specifically as a person understand and appreciate. I don't have nearly the music understanding that you do. I know that you compose all of your solo stuff, and you compose the majority of the stuff for Nile. And when I listen to it, I mean, you play so many different instruments that you are quite talented at your craft. So, to say the least, yeah.
I don't know about that. I think I'm willing to work hard. I'm willing to work hard. I don't think I was born with any more talent than anybody else.
This is a discussion we've had many times. Is like we don't feel anyone here is like some music prodigy that just happened.
Okay.
Like we've locked ourselves in rooms for many years and tried to outwork the next guy, basically.
It's just hard work and determination. All right. So we talked about Oulu tonight, Tampere, tomorrow Helsinki. How many times have you guys each been to Finland? Scott, I think your time first was 4 years ago
When I met you in
right?
Yes.
And then Karl, how many times have you been to Finland?
I don't know, a bunch.
A lot, right?
Yeah, a lot.
Okay, so the follow-up to that is like, what do you guys like about Finland, if anything?
The water.
The water is so good.
The water's
God,
fabulous.
right?
Like
The water's so good here.
the restaurant where we were yesterday and here today, the water that was on the table was so good that we were like, dude, this water's great.
It is.
You gotta try the water.
No, it really is. And people think it's such a small thing, but it actually is such a big deal. You're like, oh, this is great, this life-giving water.
and like when you take a shower with like clean water,
Yeah.
right? Fresh, clean water. Like here, Sweden and Norway, the showers are great because the water's great.
It's true.
Dude.
Yeah, it's a different experience. All right, fair enough. I like that. What about, have you guys tried any of the unique food or like Finnish booze or anything?
We had Finnish vodka last night.
Okay, did they call it Koskenkorva or was it Suomivina?
Suomivena.
Suomivina. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta say it.
There you go.
Suomivena.
You get used to it after a while. It's a hard language, I'll tell you. It's insane. They say it's one of the toughest ones.
Yes,
in the world.
it is. A lot of the places they try to teach me to say like a phrase or something, so I can say it. I can say it to the crowd. Sometimes I get, enough confidence behind it to say something, but usually, we'll see. Once you turn around and you have that many people looking, you're like,
Here's the thing.
am I going to chance this?
Here's the thing with Finns. They just appreciate the effort. So just say it. Even if you say it wrong, they're like, all right, yeah!
Yeah, there was some
This guy
fans
knows, he
trying
gets
to
it.
teach me a few of the phrasings last night so I could say them tonight, and they were quite difficult.
Ugh.
And you have to roll the R a certain way.
Yeah.
And it's try to roll an R while you're yelling.
Yeah, no, it takes some practice.
Yes.
It does. So, okay, Scott, you're from the Midwest, and Karl, you're from San Francisco. I got that right.
Wow, you did
And
get
live
that
down
right.
south now in Carolina, right?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Fair enough. So, what's better though? Let's be honest. Is it better to tour the U.S., Europe, or like somewhere else? What do you guys like each think? What's better for you? Is it better to be close to home? Or, obviously the short flights don't hurt. These long flights kind of suck. But what's what's your favorite?
Pros and cons, for both of those. Generally, the venues are better here.
Here, okay.
But there's a certain comfort in touring in your own environment because you're familiar with everything. There's nothing that you don't understand.
Like nothing foreign.
Nothing foreign. You know when you go to the convenience store, you know what everything is.
True, yeah, all the same energy drinks and cigarettes breads and the beef jerky and potato chips and bugles and true.
Love bugles.
I do too. I mean, that is an understated snack, I think. But it goes back to the early 80s. Because it's so simple.
Yeah, it's corn and some salt.
Yeah.
You know.
Just put it in yummy oil. What's wrong with that? I'm a fan of bugles. I'm right there with you.
I would also say that, generally speaking, when you make fans, European fans, they stay loyal longer.
Yeah.
In the States, it's more trend-oriented, and your audience has to be constantly recycled, and you have to keep recruiting new fans, because in the States, it's people don't hold on to whatever it is as long.
The attention span is much shorter. It's the cycle.
The identity too, like here you'll find metal fans at all ages.
True. Yeah.
So, but not so much in the States.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot of trend driving it.
Sure. Luckily, this guy, I think, has a pretty good handle on modern trends and stuff and things.
Does it appear that way?
It does, yeah. Better than me, anyway. I try to keep up with it when it's like, oh my god, it's a flash in the pan, and then it changes, and it's this platform, it's this, it's that.
I got you.
It's unbelievable. It's a rapidly evolving and changing. For example, I made an example the other day to one of my colleagues at work, and I said, hey, MySpace wasn't all that long ago. Yeah. If you look at the timeline, it was quite recently, and now it seems like a dinosaur. Really. So it's everything is driven by this constant need to grow and change and do it differently. So yeah.
Yeah, I like all the tours. It's like everyone is different because of that, and I enjoy that because once you do the States, you've done the States, But then you have friends in every city to hang with and whatever. So I love doing the States because of that.
Right. And, sure.
And anywhere I go, even if I'm not on tour, I got people in big cities everywhere to go hang with and whatever. And of course, when we come here,
and stuff like that.
I like the culture differences of going all over Europe and things. Is
right.
I still, when we have time, I try to go see something.
You do try to get out and try to see things.
It's not,
Karl, you do too. I follow you guys obviously on social media, which we were just talking about. But no, but I follow you guys and I see your exploits and stuff like that when you guys.
Yeah, that's part of the fun,
cool.
Because I get to say, I went to all these awesome exotic places, but I didn't leave the venue, So I try to go see some things when I can, and
Yeah, I mean, Europe is pretty cool that way, where there's lots of little, cultural shit just jammed in everywhere. Around every corner, you're like, oh, look at this, oh, this happened here, or, oh, shit.
That's the coolest thing, is the States is such a young country that everyone's like, oh, this is 100 years old. And they think that that's an old something. And then you go,
Europe's like,
to Ireland, and they're like, oh, this thing's fucking
500 years old. Like, really?
This bar has been here for 800 years.
Yeah.
You're like, holy shit.
Yeah, no doubt, dude. So what's the best part of touring? I mean, besides the money, why do it?
Well, we're not doing it for the money, because death metal, there's not a lot of money.
No, I just meant
We're doing it because this is what we love doing. We love playing music. We love playing live music for people. Right? That's a thing that a lot of people don't realize, is the whole purpose of playing live is that room full of metal fans who are all going to come together because they all love this music. We're going to participate in this music together, and that's a thing, right? It's not replicatable in any way online. You have to be there in the room. It's live music.
Yeah.
And it's an experience to participate in. That's what we love doing. That's why we do it.
Right.
Because, death metal, it doesn't make money.
No, that's unfortunately not. But it's true that, you have to have that passion and that dedication to the music, like you said, just working harder than anybody else, and going out there and just trying to kick ass and take names every time, you know. But yeah, that's I can understand that. I can absolutely respect that too, you know. Absolutely. So Karl, we're gonna get into this weird area now. I also, because I did a lot of research for this, I know that you teach lessons. I have seen your lessons advertised online, right? And you work with a lot of new guitar players.
Not new guitar
players.
Well,
not new, but not...
Guitar players you've probably never heard of.
Right, but of course, obviously not a...
Yeah, I don't take beginners. I only take serious guys who actually want to learn something.
So, and you've been open about learning as much from them as you teach back, right? I always see you guys smiling up on stage, and you two always like, you know, playing together and jamming out and everything. You know, what has he brought to the table, if anything, and you know, how do you guys feed off each other?
You know, he's got a few personality traits that are extremely conducive to teamwork, and to me, that's the most important facet of a fellow band member, especially a fellow guitarist, because if you don't have guys who are willing to work together, you're not going to do something that is worth listening to. Yeah, I've been on both sides of this equation. When you have guys working against each other, it's yuck. But if you have people that are willing to work together, and each person is contributing something, then you got something. All right? Sure. And Scott, he's a great vocalist, great guitarist. He's a natural metal guitar player. Right? It's just in his heart, in his soul, in his blood. It's a genuine metal thing. He's a great, meticulous player. He studies hard. He really, really focuses. His organizational skills are incredible. To be able to do the job that he was asked to do, if you want to succeed at it, you have to have somewhat of an organized routine mindset and capacity to focus.
A mountain of information.
I'm sure. Well, that was what I meant by learning the riffs and everything. It is a massive amount of work that you have gone through and written. It's incredible.
Just him, learning. If he just came in and were just a guitar player, it would be a fucking handful. But he took the place that Brian was doing. Brian was doing a huge amount of vocals. So the understanding of the songs is different. If you just do an occasional backup vocal, you don't really have to necessarily understand the song. You just do your little bit and so on. But if you're carrying a sizable portion of it, then and you're working with the other singers in the band, you have to understand how it all fits together. Right, not just now we say no. You gotta understand.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So, he really excelled at the organizational mindset and the work ethic to be able to take all that and command with it. Right, which is a different thing than just being able to do it. It's not enough just to do it.
Almost like you gotta feel it.
Well, you do have to feel it, but I'm saying whether you've got it or whether you're just keeping up. He's got it. He's not just keeping up. He's not just getting by. He's doing it commandingly.
Okay.
Which is a prerequisite in this band. We don't want people that are just keeping up. You gotta fucking pull your weight in this band or
else,
Or else.
That makes sense, though. So, we might nix this question so I can edit it out later, but because you said you don't want to talk about maybe other bands or whatever, I'm just going to ask about watching the show openers. Do you watch the show openers? Can we touch on that?
Occasionally, we hear them, whether we watch them or not. Because if there's a metal band in the house,
I know this
we're
guy.
gonna hear it.
I know this guy. I mean, he's been on stage doing Pantera with Phil and the Illegals. He opens for himself, is the middle act and the headliner. So of course he sees all the.
I had to build the career, man. I had to get noticed by people like this.
True,
you know?
yeah, true. But so how about you? But do you get a chance to catch opening acts often, or
Sometimes you can't help it.
okay?
You see it anyway.
Yeah.
But we hear them, whether you want to watch them or not.
Yeah.
And we hear them so much that you can tell what's going on.
Right. Oh, of course.
Because
Yeah,
if you
true,
hear
true.
a band 30 times in a row every day, you become so familiar with their thing that you instantly know if one of them fucked something up. Or if they did something different, or somebody started playing out of tune, or whatever. You fucking hear it.
Well, I was thinking a different way. So I know you guys toured with Sang Wisugabog last year, and I Am.
Sang with Sugar Bob.
Sang Wisugabog.
There you go.
Okay, right. So did you check out much? They're an up and coming band, and I do really like what they're doing. And of course they've got a good handle on the social media thing and everything too. They're very active. And then I Am. They're from Texas, and I actually. I'll be honest, and they have a fair amount of hardcore influence in their music, but I actually chose I Am Price of Pain as my song in Eternal Steel as my album of the year for the death metal category last year. I really liked the way I Am presented their music, so that's why I was asking. It was sort of a leading question, like So you do actually listen to the bands that are on before
Whether
you.
we want to or not.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I guess that makes sense, right? Yeah.
Well, you can't help it. You can't escape. If there's a metal band in the house, where are you not going to
Where are
hear
you going to
it?
go? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
true. Yeah. So on vile nilotic rights, did I say that properly? Nilotic?
You did.
Okay,
If
holy
you'd have
shit,
said
that's
it
a tough
wrong,
one.
I would have either just let it go or corrected you, depending on my mood.
No. I want to make sure that I'm respectful, obviously, and get it right. You know what I mean? Like, here's your giant piece of work that I can't even pronounce properly. Like, it's rude. So
It
is.
happens more than you think.
with his band too. I mean, my God, it's so hard to say. But anyway, so on vile nilotic rights, Karl. In fact, in every album going back to Those Whom the Gods Detest, you're also credited, at least in Wikipedia, so don't get mad at me here, as having done the keyboards. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. So let's go down this road here. It's another layer of Karl that maybe a lot of people don't know, but
No one ever gets to this question. So,
really?
Yeah.
Okay, so is it just like programming other instruments and sounds kind of thing, or is there a synth and strings element? I know he does some of this work as well with midis and keyboards, and so but tell us about you, because and this goes into Nile, and I don't think a lot of the listeners know who are hearing it that. Holy shit, Karl is composing this and playing this music it's quite powerful.
Well, if anyone were going to do keyboards in this band, it would be me.
Okay, yeah, right.
George isn't going to do it.
Well, sure.
Nowadays, you can make a keyboard do anything.
Right, they're quite programmable, and you can, which opens. Some people may look at it as a negative thing, right? You can do anything with it, but it actually opens the door to expression, so you can use it in a million different ways, just like you can a guitar.
Very well said.
Okay, cool. So, I won't say that. I was going to joke and say, now you have to interview me. But
We
like, get out, leave.
People don't realize it.
He has a point, too.
These interviews, they say more about the interviewee than they do about the artist. Because in the thousands of interviews that I've done, over the course of my life, right?
Yeah, no shit.
I'm
There's
still the same dude, right?
Yes.
It's kind of like that line in Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where he goes to Mars. Total Recall. It's kind of like that Total Recall line where he goes in and they're trying to sell him on this trip where they implant fake memories.
And
they say, well, what's the same about every vacation you've ever taken? You're the same thing, right? Yeah. Well, this is actually true about interviews. I'm the same dude answering the same questions about the same music. The only variable is the angle and the spin that whoever's actually writing the article puts on it and frames it with their questions.
Okay.
I'm the same dude. If I pulled out my driver's license, it still says the same thing.
Sure. Well, what I like to do is at least maybe try to just have more of a casual conversation and bring up things that maybe a lot of people don't know, that isn't accepted knowledge, that isn't too prying either. Sort of middle of the road.
I like fresh new questions.
Okay.
Yeah, it takes the drudgery out of it.
I enjoy your interviews a lot in the background because if you get Karl to a point where you're asking some, like you're saying, some of the same questions, or you haven't done your research properly or something.
Yeah.
Then he starts to torment them,
and
it's in the best way possible. For me, it's comic relief.
Because you know the inside story.
Sadistic.
Oh yeah,
that is sadistic.
I'm just making coffee. This poor guy.
Well, we got you on this subject then, Karl. Let's go down that road. A fair amount of storyline always follows your releases. Your music is obviously contains elaborate writing, and you craft these liner notes with these stories, right? And I also know the Saurian series. Did I say that correctly?
Close enough.
Okay, because that's a tough word, right?
No, it's not. It's like dinosaur. Saurian
series. I apologize.
Which means in Greek, terrible lizard.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I was actually have this fact written down here that it's a group of lizards, reptiles. That includes dinosaurs, right?
They are from, the similar evolutionary offshoot.
And this latest story with the guy that, witnesses the apocalypse, mankind's end, and then this post-apocalyptic enslavement and everything that happens, right? So, all right. Obviously, there is a lot going on in that mind of yours. It's very creative. So, tell us, how much does the average Nile listener know about Karl Sanders? How much of a peek inside that brain do we get?
Wow. Well, I think we could answer that a whole bunch of ways. In some ways, not at all. In some ways, I am speaking through the music. So if you listen, then you'll know.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's deep. But I do like that. That's great. That's... wow, thank you. No, it's good too. That's a very intellectual way of approaching it, but it's true. It's very true.
Or you could say that's a complete evasive non-answer. Right?
Let's be more optimistic about it. In your early works, there's Nile and Festival of Atonement, right? Okay. There's some clean vocal passages and some sort of like almost alternative metal sounding sections.
Yes.
Is that something that you'd ever consider doing in the future with Nile again? Or was that sort of a snapshot in time and not something you'll go back to?
Well, with close listen to subsequent Nile releases, you may find dashes of clean vocals scattered here and there.
Well, there is, of course, spoken word and vocalizations and these things as well added in and layered in. So, yeah, of course, there are forms of clean vocals, but I have to be honest, and I hope this is not insulting, but there was a very no. Let me say it first. No.
Well, now you built it up.
No, it just had this Alice in Chainsy kind of feel, a very '90s alternative grungy feel. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the passages I'm talking about, but I just didn't know if that was something that would ever work.
Well, he ain't in the band no more, so you're not gonna hear any of that.
Okay, all right, so I'll shut the fuck up. There we go. Okay, so moving on. All right. So Karl, you have a son, Kale, right? Now, bear with me on this one. I dug up an old YouTube video from 2011, right? And on it is you guest starring along with your son playing Space Truckin' by Deep Purple.
You found that?
I did! It was crazy! It was so
That's
intense,
on
man.
YouTube?
It was awesome. Yes. I believe
send me the link.
The bass player guy was also singing. I think it was probably like a teacher or something.
It's teacher.
It was his teacher. Okay, yeah. He was. It was. I believe it was his channel. He posted it. It was wild, man. So it was Karl from I was 12 years ago, right?
Well, where he took guitar lessons, they would have a recital every 4 months, and students have to get up and play a song,
right?
And it gives them a goal to shoot for, and I really think it's an educational part of the experience. So when he said, "Hey, Dad, I want to play Space Truckin'," and he asked me, do you want to play the rhythm parts? And I was like, sure, I'll play the rhythms. You got to play the solos. I'm not playing the solos. You have to learn them.
Okay.
So, and he did. So
no, he did very good. Yeah, sure.
And I was like, I remember seeing the video after we had done it. And I was like, why are you putting the camera on me? Put the camera on him.
Sure,
it's his moment.
Thing. It's his,
Yeah, so that would be my only gripe about that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it came out good. It was well done. I thought it was cool to see that. You know what I mean?
It was a really fun moment.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. So along that lines, he also sings on vinyl nylonic rights.
He did some backup vocals.
He did some backup vocals. Okay, so what's it like jamming with your son, man? Just be honest. It must be awesome. It must be fun. Are you guys going to work together in the future?
I've tried to dissuade him from being overly serious about the guitar because he plays for fun. Because he enjoys it. And I think that's the purest reason that there is. Once you try to start making a living out of it, it changes into something else.
Okay, yeah.
So, let's keep it fun.
But it must be fun when you guys get a chance to work together.
It is.
And just sort of,
He writes pieces of music that are very different and very emotional based. You can really hear the Appalachian kind of folk music influence that he's got in an ambient sort of way. It's not flashy guitar playing, it's deep and heartfelt.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
Yeah. He's definitely not a shredder guy. He's plays with his fingers.
Hey, to each his own. I mean, at least he got to see that love of music and guitar and pick it up from you, and I think that goes a long way. At least personally, I think the things that our fathers pass on to us are pretty important.
Well, he did it because he enjoyed it.
And that's of course.
So I'm okay with it. I would not have made him follow in my footsteps. It's a hard life.
Yeah. So I'm going through this job search thing now, and it sucks. But I'm always fascinated with this question because I always ask it, tell me about yourself, guys. As an artist, where do you see yourself in 10 years, maybe even 20 years? I mean, Karl, you'll be 69. You'll be pushing 70 in 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Will you still be ripping fucking Nile fucking riffs into your 70s and 80s? Is that the goal?
I don't know what that goal is. I didn't plan this far ahead in life, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't envision anything past 25.
Right.
Right, which was short-sighted and irresponsible. My parents tried to tell me, "What are you going to do when you grow up?" My answer to that was, well, Mom, if I don't learn to do anything else, then I'll have to be good. I'll just simply have to succeed. Right, which is utterly fucking stupid.
Or
16-year-old.
just ballsy, right? I mean, I was like, well, I don't look at things
You don't need a plan B.
Yeah, no, it's
It distracts from plan A.
Yeah, I will excel, and I have no choice. Yeah, and holy shit, yeah. So no, I didn't think it was a bullshit answer. I thought it was like a way different way of looking at things, you know. Just fucking tackling.
Well, my parents pretty much thought it was, son, you need to have a backup.
Well, they're always like, everybody, whether it's girlfriends or their parents or relatives or teachers who are always like, oh no, don't play guitar, don't make music. Everybody has heard it a million times. Oh yeah. Even Karl said it.
Even Karl said it. Yeah.
So, all right, guys. I mean, that's about it. Scott, you can wrap up. You got anything in store for us tonight?
Oh man, it's gonna be a great show. It's I feels like we're getting stronger.
Yeah.
Every time, every moment. It's a cohesive unit, and the crowds have been awesome. So I'm looking forward to. As I tell Karl, I need to scream at someone today.
Okay.
I can't wait to scream at people.
You're gonna get your chance. Hell yeah! All right. Mr. Sanders, sir, Karl, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us.
Scott, thank you. I appreciate your time, and thanks for joining us on Metal Fortress Radio.